The radio telescope in New Mexico picked up the signal at exactly 3:47 in the morning. Dr. Jake Morrison had been working the night shift for 6 years, listening to the endless static from space, hoping to find something that wasn't random noise. When the first clear pattern came through his headphones, he nearly dropped his coffee. Jake stared at the computer screen. The signal was too organized to be natural. It repeated every 12 seconds with mathematical precision. He recorded everything and ran it through the computers. The results made his hands shake. "This is not coming from Earth," he whispered to himself. Jake called his supervisor, Dr. Helen Scott, who lived 20 minutes away. She answered on the 4th ring, sounding angry about being woken up. "This better be important, Jake." "Helen, you need to get here now. We have contact." The line went quiet for a long moment. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure. This is the real thing." While waiting for Helen, Jake continued monitoring the signal. It was getting stronger. Whatever was sending it was getting closer to Earth. Much closer. Helen arrived 30 minutes later with 3 other scientists. They all crowded around Jake's station, watching the data stream across multiple monitors. The signal was now so strong it was overwhelming their equipment. "How close?" Helen asked. Jake checked his calculations twice. If this is coming from outside our solar system, the source would have to be impossibly powerful. But if it's closer, how? Much closer? Maybe already in our solar system, maybe already near Earth. Dr. Lisa Park, the youngest member of their team, was running the signal through translation programs. "Jake, look at this. The pattern is changing. It's not random anymore." They all watched as the signal evolved from simple repetition to complex mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, then basic equations, then something that looked almost like language. Helen breathed. "It's trying to communicate." The computers finished their analysis at dawn. The signal was definitely artificial, definitely intelligent, and definitely not human. Jake called the emergency contact number they had memorized but never expected to use. Within 2 hours, black cars arrived at the radio telescope facility. Men in dark suits took over the entire building. Jake and his team were moved to a secure room and told to keep working. But now they had company: military officers, government officials, and people who never gave their real names. Colonel Mike Barnes introduced himself as the liaison between the scientific team and other interested parties. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. "What exactly are we dealing with, Dr. Morrison?" he asked. Jake showed him the data. "The signal is coming from multiple sources now, at least 12 different transmitters, all in near-Earth space. They're coordinating with each other." "Coordinating how?" "Like a fleet." The room went very quiet. "How long before they get here?" Colonel Barnes asked. Dr. Park looked up from her computer. "Colonel, they're already here. At exactly noon, every television station on Earth interrupted their regular programming. Every radio frequency carried the same message. Every internet connection displayed the same text in hundreds of languages. The message was simple. People, Earth, we are the galactic hegemony. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. You have 72 hours to surrender your governments and prepare for occupation. Resistance will result in the elimination of your species." Jake watched the message repeat on the screens around him. The translation was perfect in every language. These aliens had been studying Earth for a long time. President Lisa Carter appeared on television an hour later, speaking from the White House. She looked calm, but Jake could see the fear in her eyes. "My fellow Americans and citizens of the world," she began, "we face an unprecedented challenge. We are not alone in the universe, and our new neighbors have not come in peace. But we are Americans. We are human beings. We do not surrender to threats." Jake thought the president sounded braver than he felt. Colonel Barnes received a phone call and stepped away to take it. When he came back, his face was grim. "What is it?" Helen asked. "Satellite imagery confirms it. There are ships in orbit, big ones. Our best estimates put the largest one at over 2 miles long." Dr. Park was still working on the alien communications. "I'm picking up internal chatter between their ships. They're not trying to hide it." I think they want us to know how powerful they are." "What are they saying?" Jake asked. Lisa looked pale. "They're discussing which cities to destroy first as examples. They're treating this like pest control." Jake felt sick. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for decades. In every movie and book, there was always hope for peaceful communication, for learning from advanced civilizations. But these, aliens saw humans as nothing more than insects to be cleared away. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of emergency broadcasts, military mobilizations, and desperate diplomatic attempts. World leaders tried to establish communication with the alien fleet. The aliens responded by transmitting detailed scans of major cities, highlighting military installations and government buildings with targeting markers. Jake and his team worked around the clock, trying to learn everything they could about the alien technology. The ships used energy sources beyond human understanding. Their communications traveled faster than light. Their weapon signatures suggested they could level continents. Dr. Scott pulled Jake aside on the second day. "Jake, there's something else. We're detecting some kind of energy buildup from inside the Earth itself." "What do you mean?" "Seismic stations worldwide are reporting unusual activity. Not earthquakes. Something else. Something artificial." Jake looked at the data Helen showed him. The energy readings were massive, coming from deep underground all over the planet. "What could cause this?" "I don't know. But it started exactly when the alien fleet arrived." Colonel Barnes joined them, overhearing the conversation. "Are you saying there's something underground? Something that's responding to the alien presence?" Helen nodded. "That's exactly what I'm saying. And whatever it is, it's big. Planet big." Jake stared at the energy readings. Patterns of power flowing through the Earth's crust like blood through veins, like a sleeping giant waking up. The alien ultimatum had 18 hours left. Dr. Elena Garcia was working late at the earthquake monitoring station when the ground started shaking differently. She had been studying earthquakes for 15 years, and this was not like anything she had ever seen before. The vibrations were too regular, too organized. They pulsed every few seconds like a giant heartbeat coming from deep inside the Earth. Elena called her supervisor, but the phone lines were jammed with emergency calls from around the world. Every seismic station on the planet was reporting the same thing. The entire Earth was vibrating with a rhythm that made no scientific sense. Elena ran outside and put her hand on the ground. She could feel it through her palm, a deep thrumming that seemed to come from the planet's core. It was getting stronger. Meanwhile, at NORAD headquarters in Colorado, Commander Alex Turner was staring at readings that should have been impossible. The underground military base was buried deep in a mountain, designed to survive nuclear war. But now the instruments were showing energy levels that made nuclear weapons look like firecrackers. "Sir, we're detecting massive power sources all over North America," reported Sergeant Kelly Murphy. "The energy is coming from underground, depths of 10 to 20 miles. Alex looked at the map on the main screen. Bright spots were appearing, everywhere, connected by lines of energy that formed a pattern across the continent. It looked like a circuit board the size of a country. "How is this possible?" he asked. "Unknown, sir. But the power levels are increasing exponentially. At this rate, the energy output will exceed our measurement capabilities within hours." The alien fleet commander, General Vorth, watched Earth from his flagship with growing impatience. The humans had not responded to their surrender demand. Worse, his sensors were detecting unusual energy patterns from the planet below. "Admiral," his science officer reported, "the planet is exhibiting anomalous behavior. We're reading massive energy signatures from the planetary core." General Vorth dismissed the report with a wave of his hand. Primitive species often damage their own planets with crude technology. It changes nothing. But privately, he was concerned. In 300 years of conquest, the galactic hegemony had never encountered readings like these. The energy signatures were off the charts beyond anything in their databases. "Begin the demonstration," he ordered. "Target the small island chain in the Pacific. Show these humans what resistance costs." On Earth, people watched in horror as the alien ships positioned themselves over a small group of islands in the Pacific Ocean. The islands had a population of about 50,000 people. President Carter tried desperately to establish communication with the alien fleet, but they ignored all attempts at contact. The aliens had made their decision. The orbital bombardment began at sunset. Beams of energy struck the islands from space, each blast equivalent to a nuclear weapon. Within minutes, the islands were gone, turned to glass and steam. 50,000 people died in an instant. The world watched in shocked silence. The aliens had demonstrated their power, and humanity had no defense against it. But something unexpected happened when the islands were destroyed. The energy readings that Elena and Alex had been monitoring suddenly spiked. All around the world, the underground vibrations became violent. Dr. Jake Morrison, still working at the radio telescope facility, received a transmission on a frequency that his equipment should not have been able to detect. The signal was coming from inside the Earth itself. "This is impossible," he told Dr. Helen Scott. "The transmission is originating from directly below us, maybe 20 miles down." Helen checked the equipment twice. "Jake, this signal is using technology we don't understand. The frequency modulation is beyond anything humans have developed." The message was simple, but it changed everything. Defense protocols activated. Planetary weapon systems online. Prepare for counter-engagement. Jake stared at the screen. "Helen, are you seeing this?" "I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it." The transmission continued. "Surface inhabitants, please respond. Are you the current dominant species on this planet?" Jake's hands shook as he typed a response. "Yes, we are humans. Who are you?" The answer came immediately. "We are the Planetary Defense System. We have been sleeping for 4.7 million years. The arrival of hostile forces has triggered our awakening. Do you require assistance?" Helen grabbed Jake's arm. "This is not possible. Earth doesn't have a planetary defense system." But the evidence was everywhere. Seismic stations reported that the vibrations were now forming complex patterns across every continent. Satellite imagery showed strange geometric shapes appearing in deserts, forests, and ocean floors. Ancient structures were rising from places where they had been hidden for millions of years. Commander Turner received reports from military bases around the world. Underground installations were detecting massive structures directly beneath them, structures that were older than human civilization. "Sir," Sergeant Murphy reported, "we're getting similar readings from every major military installation on Earth. Whatever this system is, it's global." Sam Parker, a NASA engineer, was called in to analyze the energy patterns. He had designed power systems for space stations, but this was beyond anything he had ever seen. "The power source appears to be the Earth's core itself," he told the Emergency Council. "Somehow this system is drawing energy directly from the planet's molten center and distributing it through a network that spans the globe." "How is that possible?" asked Colonel Barnes. "It's not possible with our technology, but apparently someone else's technology is much more advanced than ours." Dr. Elena Garcia was monitoring the seismic activity when she made a disturbing discovery. The vibrations were not random. They were forming a pattern that looked like brainwaves. The Earth itself was thinking. She called the emergency number and was connected directly to the crisis team. "You need to hear this," she said. "The seismic patterns match neural activity. The planet is not just alive, it's conscious." "General." Forth watched the energy readings from Earth with growing alarm. The planet was now generating more power than his entire fleet combined. Worse, the energy was focused and directed, not random. "Science officer, what are we looking at?" "Unknown. General, the planet appears to be some kind of technological construct. We may have made an error in classification." "What do you mean?" "Sir, I don't think we're attacking a primitive world. I think we're attacking a warship." As if responding to his words, new signals began broadcasting from Earth. But these signals were not coming from human technology. They were coming from the planet itself, transmitted with power levels that dwarfed anything in the galactic hegemony's arsenal. The message was, Simple. Broadcast in the alien's own language. You have committed an act of war against the Terran Defense Network. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences. General Vorth stared at the message. In 300 years of conquest, no primitive world had ever threatened the galactic hegemony. But Earth was not just a world. Earth was waking up, and it was very, very angry. The ground beneath Denver split open at dawn. Captain Roy Davis was leading a military patrol when the Earth cracked like an eggshell, revealing a tunnel that descended into darkness. The tunnel was perfectly round and lined with a material that looked like metal but felt warm to the touch. "This is not natural," Roy said into his radio. "The tunnel appears to be artificial. Very artificial." Similar openings appeared all over the world. In the Sahara Desert, ancient pyramids rose from the sand, but these were not built by humans. In the Amazon rainforest, trees moved aside as massive structures emerged from the earth. In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, islands appeared where no islands had existed before. Dr. Jake Morrison was still at the radio telescope when the underground system contacted him again. This time the message was longer and more detailed. "Surface inhabitants, we must communicate directly. Send representatives to the nearest access point. Time is limited. The hostile fleet is preparing for full assault." Jake looked at the coordinates. The system provided. The nearest access point was the tunnel that had opened in Denver 200 miles away. "Helen, we need to go there," he said. Dr. Helen Scott shook her head. "Jake, we don't know what's down there. It could be dangerous. More dangerous than the alien fleet that just destroyed 50,000 people." Within hours, a team was assembled. Jake and Helen joined Captain Roy Davis, Dr. Kate Williams, who was an expert in ancient languages, and Colonel Mike Barnes. They entered the Denver tunnel with full military escort. The tunnel descended for miles into the earth. The walls glowed with a soft blue light that seemed to come from within the material itself. The air was warm and breathable, even at depths where it should have been impossible. "The construction is seamless," Kate observed. "No joints, no welds, no tool marks. This was not built by human hands." They walked for an hour before reaching a vast chamber. The room was larger than a football stadium, with a ceiling that disappeared into darkness above. In the center of the chamber stood a pillar of light that pulsed with the same rhythm they had felt in the ground vibrations. When they approached the pillar, a voice spoke directly into their minds. It was not threatening, but it was clearly not human. "Welcome, children of the surface. I am the consciousness of this world. You may call me Terra." Jake stepped forward. "You're the planetary defense system?" "I am much more than that. I am this planet. I am the mountains, the oceans, the core itself. I have been asleep for millions of years, but the attack on my surface inhabitants has awakened me." Kate pulled out a recording device. "Can you tell us your history? How did you come to be?" The pillar of light pulsed brighter. "Long ago, my creators faced a threat that would have destroyed all life in this galaxy. They were called the Terrans, and they were much like you. They had a choice: flee and let the threat consume everything, or fight and probably die." "What did they choose?" Roy asked. "They chose to fight, but not in the way you might expect. They merged their consciousness with their homeworld. They became one with the planet itself, turning it into a weapon capable of defending life wherever it existed. The chamber around them changed. The walls became transparent, showing images of the ancient past. They saw a civilization far more advanced than humanity, with cities that floated in the sky and ships that could travel between stars. The Terrans spread throughout the galaxy, seeding worlds with life and leaving behind guardians to protect that life. I am one of those guardians. I have been waiting for a species worthy of my protection to evolve on my surface." "And you think we're worthy?" Helen asked. "You have shown compassion for other life forms. You have art, music, literature. You dream of exploring the stars not to conquer, but to discover. Yes, you are worthy." The images changed, showing the current situation. The alien fleet in orbit looked small and fragile compared to the massive structures hidden beneath Earth's surface. "The galactic hegemony has ruled through fear for thousands of years," Terra continued. They destroy civilizations that show promise, enslaving those that submit. They have forgotten that this galaxy once belonged to the Terrans. Colonel Barnes stepped forward. What can you do against them? Watch and learn. The chamber filled with new images. Beneath every continent, massive weapon systems were coming online. Railguns the size of mountains were rising from the ocean floors. Energy collectors that had been disguised as natural formations for millions of years were beginning to glow with power. The moon is not your natural satellite, Terra explained. It is a weapons platform placed in orbit to protect this world. Mars was once a Terran world as well, though it has been dormant longer than I have. Jake stared at the images. You're saying our entire solar system is a fortress? One of many. The Terrans built similar defenses around thousands of worlds. Most have been sleeping so long they may never wake again. But some will. The signal I sent when I awakened will reach them eventually. Kate was frantically taking notes. How many worlds are like this? In this galaxy alone? Perhaps 50 that still function. Across the universe? Millions. The implications were staggering. Humanity was not alone in the universe, but they were not just one species among many. They were the inheritors of a galactic civilization that had once ruled the stars. What do you need from us? Roy asked. Your permission to defend your world. I am a weapon, but I am also a protector. I will not act without the consent of those I protect. The team looked at each other. The choice was simple but terrifying. Give permission, and Earth would reveal itself as the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. Refuse, and humanity would be enslaved or destroyed. You have it, Colonel Barnes said. Defend our world. Then let us show the galactic hegemony what happens when they threaten a Terran world. The chamber began to vibrate with power. Throughout the planet, ancient systems that had slept for millions of years came fully online. The moon's surface cracked open, revealing weapon ports that had been hidden since before the dinosaurs. In orbit, General Vorth watched his instruments with growing alarm. The energy readings from the planet below were now beyond his equipment's ability to measure. Worse, similar readings were coming from the moon. Science officer, what is our analysis? General, we are not facing a primitive world. We are facing a battleship the size of a planet, and it appears to be fully operational. That's impossible. Sir, the moon just targeted our flagship with what appears to be a weapon that could destroy our entire fleet. General Vorth stared at the tactical display. The moon, which had been a lifeless rock moments before, now showed dozens of weapon signatures. Each one was more powerful than anything in the hegemony's arsenal. All ships, prepare for immediate retreat, he ordered. But Terra was not finished talking. The planetary consciousness broadcast a message that every ship in the fleet received simultaneously. Ships of the galactic hegemony, you have attacked a protected world. You have killed innocent life. You have declared war on the Terran Defense Network. You have 30 seconds to surrender or you will be destroyed. General Vorth looked at his tactical officer. Can we outrun them? Sir, if those energy readings are accurate, they can destroy us before we can even begin to run. Send the surrender signal. Sir? Send it now. But it was too late. Terra had been patient for millions of years. She would be patient no longer. General Vorth's 30 seconds were up. The first shot came from the moon. A beam of pure energy struck the hegemony flagship, but instead of destroying it, the beam wrapped around the ship like a cage of light. The massive alien vessel, 2 miles long and built to intimidate entire planets, was held motionless in space. What is happening? General Vorth screamed at his crew. Sir, we're caught in some kind of energy field. All our systems are being analyzed. They're reading our computers, our weapons, everything. On Earth, Terra spoke to the human team still standing in the underground chamber. I am learning about their technology. It is crude but effective. They use fear as much as firepower to control other species. Captain Roy Davis watched the images Terra showed them. The alien fleet was impressive by human standards, but compared to the weapon systems now emerging from Earth and the moon, they looked like toys. Their ships are designed to fight primitive civilizations, Terra continued. They have never faced Terran technology. Commander Alex Turner was coordinating with Terra from his position at NORAD. The ancient planetary consciousness had connected directly to human military systems, sharing information faster than any computer network ever built. Terra, what are our capabilities? Alex asked. Observe. The Pacific Ocean began to drain. Not all of it, but a section larger than Texas simply moved aside, revealing structures on the ocean floor that defied imagination. Massive railguns, each one the size of a city, began rising from the depths. They had been hidden beneath the water for millions of years, disguised as natural underwater mountains. Dr. Elena Garcia was monitoring the seismic activity from her station when she realized what was happening. The entire planet is repositioning itself, she reported to the crisis team. Terra is adjusting Earth's rotation to optimize firing angles. The sensation was subtle but unmistakable. Day and night cycles shifted slightly as the planet itself moved with purpose. Terra was aiming. General Vorth watched in horror as more weapons appeared. The Sahara Desert opened like a flower, revealing a single cannon barrel that stretched from horizon to horizon. The barrel began to glow with energy that registered on sensors throughout the solar system. Science officer, analysis, he demanded. Sir, that single weapon has more firepower than our entire battle fleet, and there are dozens more appearing worldwide. But Terra was not finished revealing her arsenal. The Antarctic ice sheet cracked and slid away, exposing a series of platforms that launched projectiles into space. These were not energy weapons, but simple kinetic rounds, chunks of metal accelerated to near light speed. The first projectile struck an alien destroyer on the edge of the fleet. The ship simply ceased to exist, converted to plasma in an instant. All ships evasive maneuvers, General Vorth ordered. But there was nowhere to run. Terra had been calculating trajectories for millions of years. Every shot was perfect. Commander, Sarah Brooks was piloting one of Earth's few space-capable fighters when Terra contacted her directly. Pilot Brooks, your aircraft is crude, but adequate. I am upgrading your systems. Sarah felt her fighter change around her. New controls appeared. Weapons she had never seen before came online, and her engine suddenly had power beyond anything human technology could produce. How is this possible? She asked. I am sharing Terran technology with your military systems. Your species shows promise. You deserve better tools. Sarah looked at her new weapon displays. Each missile her fighter now carried had more destructive power than a nuclear bomb. Her shields could withstand direct hits from the alien weapons that had terrified humanity hours before. Sarah took command. I'm reading impossible upgrades to my fighter. Confirmed, Sarah. Alex Turner responded from NORAD. Terra is upgrading our entire military. We're receiving technology that's millions of years ahead of anything we have. But Terra's real demonstration was just beginning. The alien fleet had arranged itself in a defensive formation, trying to use their numbers to overwhelm the planetary defenses. They did not understand what they were facing. Terra fired a single shot from the cannon in the Sahara Desert. The energy beam traveled at light speed, struck the center of the alien fleet, and kept going. It passed through 17 alien ships, disabling each one without destroying them. I do not wish to commit genocide, Terra explained to the humans. These beings are also children of the galaxy. They have been corrupted by their empire, but they can be saved. General Vorth found his ship drifting powerless in space along with most of his fleet. The few ships that still had power were trying to retreat, but Terra was faster. Kinetic rounds launched from Earth struck each fleeing ship with perfect precision, not to destroy, but to disable. Within minutes, the entire Galactic Hegemony fleet was helpless. Dr. Jake Morrison was still in the underground chamber when Terra showed them what was happening throughout the galaxy. The signal she had sent when she awakened was reaching other worlds, other sleeping guardians. A world in the Centauri system is stirring, Terra reported. Another in the direction of your constellation Orion is beginning to wake. The Terran Defense Network is coming back online after millions of years of sleep. Dr. Kate Williams was documenting everything. How many worlds will answer the call? Unknown. Many of my sister worlds have slept so long they may never wake. But some will. And when they do, the galaxy will remember what the Terrans built. The images Terra showed them were breathtaking. Across space, Dead planets were beginning to glow with energy. Worlds that had been written off as barren rocks were revealing themselves as sleeping giants. General Vorth's communications officer managed to get a message through to Hegemony Command. "This is General Vorth. We have encountered a Class X threat. The primitive world designation was incorrect. We are facing Terran technology. Repeat, we have found a Terran world." The response from Hegemony Command was immediate and panicked. "General Vorth, withdraw immediately. All forces in that sector are ordered to retreat. The Terrans are extinct. That's impossible." "The Terrans are not extinct," Vorth replied. "They merged with their worlds. We just attacked a planet-sized battleship." Terra listened to the alien communications and spoke to the humans. "The Galactic Hegemony knows of the Terrans. They have been searching for our worlds for centuries, destroying them when they find them sleeping." "Why?" Roy asked. "Because they know that when we wake up, their empire ends." Above Earth, the disabled alien fleet waited in space. Some ships were already trying to repair their systems, but Terra was monitoring everything. Any ship that became operational was immediately disabled again. "What happens now?" Colonel Barnes asked. "Now we give them a choice," Terra replied. "They can return to their empire and report what they found here. They can warn the Galactic Hegemony that the Terrans have returned, or they can stay and learn a better way to live." General Vorth received a transmission from Earth that appeared on every screen in his ship simultaneously. "General Vorth of the Galactic Hegemony. I am Terra, consciousness of this world. Your fleet attacked a protected planet and killed innocent beings. By the laws of the ancient Terran covenant, you have committed an act of war." Vorth tried to respond, but Terra continued. "However, I offer you mercy. Take your ships and return to your empire. Tell them that the Terrans have returned. Tell them that the age of conquest through fear is ending. The galaxy belongs to all, life, not just the strong." Vorth's ships slowly regained power as Terra released them from her energy fields. His fleet was intact but completely outmatched. "General," his communications officer asked, "what are your orders?" Vorth stared at Earth, now revealed as the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. "Set course for home. The High Command needs to know what we found here." As the alien fleet retreated, Terra spoke one final time to the humans in her chamber. "The war is not over. It has just begun." 3 months after the alien fleet retreated from Earth, the galaxy began to change in ways no one expected. General Vorth had delivered his report to the Galactic Hegemony High Command. The news that a Terran world had awakened sent shockwaves through their empire. For centuries, the Hegemony had searched for sleeping Terran worlds, destroying them before they could wake up. Now one was fully active, and it was too late to stop it. On Earth, President Lisa Carter stood before the United Nations, but she was not speaking only to humanity. Terra had connected Earth's communication systems to an ancient network that spanned the galaxy. "People of Earth and beings throughout the stars," she began. "We are no longer alone. We have learned that our planet is one of many guardians placed throughout the galaxy by an ancient civilization. Today we join that network as active protectors of life." Dr. Jake Morrison was working with Terra to decode signals from across space. Every day, new transmissions arrived from worlds that had been sleeping for millions of years. "Terra, how many have awakened so far?" he asked. 17 worlds have responded to my signal," Terra replied through the communication pillar in the underground chamber. More are stirring. The network grows stronger each day. Captain Roy Davis now commanded a ship that blended human engineering with Terran technology. His vessel could travel between stars in weeks instead of centuries. He led the first human expedition to visit another awakened world. "Terra, are we ready for this?" Roy asked as his ship prepared to enter faster-than-light travel. "The journey will be safe, Captain Davis. The world you are visiting calls itself Verdant. It awakened 1 month ago and has been eager to meet its new sister world." The journey to Verdant took 3 weeks. When Roy's ship arrived, he found a planet covered in vast forests and crystal cities. The inhabitants were tall, graceful beings who had evolved alongside their planetary consciousness for thousands of years. "Welcome, children of Terra," the verdant beings said when Roy's team landed. "We have waited long to meet the new guardians. Commander, Alex Turner remained on Earth, coordinating the planet's new role as a hub of galactic communication. Terra had shared star maps showing the locations of hundreds of former Terran worlds. Most were still sleeping, but some would never wake again. Terra, what happened to the worlds that can't wake up? Alex asked. Many were found by the galactic hegemony over the centuries, Terra explained. They were destroyed while still dormant. Others simply slept too long and their consciousness faded. We are the lucky ones. But not all the news was good. The galactic hegemony was mobilizing their entire military to deal with the Terran threat. Intelligence reports from awakened worlds throughout the galaxy painted a picture of a massive empire, preparing for war. Dr. Elena Garcia was studying the seismic patterns of newly awakened worlds when she made a disturbing discovery. Terra, the hegemony isn't just preparing to fight us. They're destroying planets that might be sleeping Terran worlds. I am aware, Terra replied grimly. They are attempting to prevent more awakenings. We must act quickly to save as many of our sleeping sisters as possible. Commander Sarah Brooks was now leading a squadron of upgraded human fighters. Terra had taught humanity to build ships that could travel between stars and fight alongside planetary consciousnesses. Sarah, your mission is to reach the Kepler system, Terra instructed. Long-range sensors indicate a world there is beginning to stir. The hegemony has dispatched a fleet to destroy it. Sarah's squadron jumped to faster-than-light speed. When they arrived at the Kepler system, they found a hegemony fleet bombarding a planet that was trying to wake up. Energy readings showed the world was fighting back, but it was still groggy from millions of years of sleep. All fighters engage the enemy, Sarah ordered. Protect the awakening world. The battle was swift but decisive. Human fighters equipped with Terran technology were more than a match for hegemony ships designed to intimidate primitive civilizations. Within hours, the enemy fleet was either destroyed or retreating. The planet they saved called itself Haven, and its awakening added another powerful voice to the growing Terran network. Dr. Kate Williams had been working with Terra to decode the historical records stored in the planetary consciousness. What she found changed humanity's understanding of their place in the universe. Jake, you need to see this, she said, calling Dr. Morrison to her workstation. Terra has shown me the complete history of the Terrans. They didn't just build defensive worlds. They guided the evolution of life throughout the galaxy. What do you mean? The Terrans seeded thousands of worlds with life, then placed guardian planets nearby to protect that life as it evolved. Every intelligent species in the galaxy owes its existence to Terran intervention. The implications were staggering. Humanity was not just the inheritor of Terran technology. They were the inheritors of responsibility for all life in the galaxy. Meanwhile, the galactic hegemony was learning that their empire was crumbling. Species that had been enslaved for centuries were rebelling, inspired by news of the awakened Terran worlds. Planets that had submitted to hegemony rule were declaring independence. High Command, we have lost contact with 17 colonial worlds. General Vorth reported during an emergency council session. The rebellions are spreading faster than we can contain them. How many Terran worlds are now active? The Supreme Commander asked. 23 confirmed, sir. Possibly more. They're coordinating their actions across the galaxy. We can't fight them all. On Earth, Terra was receiving reports from awakened worlds throughout space. The ancient network was stronger than it had been in millions of years, but there was still work to do. Children of the surface, Terra said to the human team in her chamber. The galaxy is changing. The hegemony will not surrender easily. They have ruled through fear for too long to give up power without a fight. President Carter had established the Terran Coordination Council with representatives from Earth and other awakened worlds. Their first meeting was held via quantum communication across impossible distances. Fellow Guardians, she addressed the council. We have a choice. We can remain defensive, protecting only our own worlds, or we can take active steps to free the galaxy from the hegemony's control. The vote was unanimous. The awakened Terran worlds would not hide in defense. They would actively work to free every enslaved species and awaken every sleeping guardian they could find. Dr. Morrison received a transmission that made him smile for the first time in months. It was from a distant galaxy, far beyond the reach of the hegemony's empire. This is Titan Prime of the Andromeda Defense Network, the message said. We have received Terra's awakening signal. The Terrans placed guardians in our galaxy as well. We are awakening and preparing to assist our sister network. Jake looked at Terra's communication pillar. How far does this network extend? Throughout the universe, Terra replied. The Terrans were builders, Jake. They built on a scale your species is only beginning to imagine. Every galaxy has guardian worlds. Every galaxy has sleeping protectors. And now they're all waking up? Now they're all waking up. 6 months after first contact, humanity had gone from a species threatened with extinction to the coordinators of a galactic liberation movement. The galactic hegemony, which had ruled through superior firepower for millennia, faced enemies that made their technology look primitive. But more than that, they faced something they had never encountered before: hope. Species throughout the galaxy were learning that they didn't have to live in fear. The ancient guardians had returned and the age of oppression was ending. Terra sent one final message to every inhabited world in the galaxy, transmitted with power that reached across impossible distances. Children of the stars, you are not alone. You never were. The guardians are awakening, and the galaxy belongs to life, not to those who would destroy it. The Terran network was complete. The real war for the galaxy's freedom was about to begin.